What up, guys? So today we have another coaching question, and this one comes from a coach who is curious about how I tame the wild white belts. So, basically talking about when you have a white belt come in that's just all kinds of crazy and spazzy and everything else. How do you chill that white belt out so that they can be integrated into your class and become a much more smooth technical roller, right? It's a good question. The number one thing, and this is the biggie, the word ego. Jiu-jitsu people have a weird relationship with ego. We all have an ego, right? We all got one. You keep it as a tool. You just don't want it to be in the driver's seat. But we all have an ego. And sometimes our ego can get the best of us. But like anytime a person gets a little rough or spazzy, they instantly throw their arms up and say, you need to lose your ego, man. You got an ego problem. Could be an issue. Most of the time when I talk to new white belts and they spaz out a little bit and they do stupid stuff, it's not because of an ego issue. I mean, sure, they want to do well, but who doesn't? How many of you guys watching this, how many of you that have started jiu-jitsu, raise your hands, like, I really want to be very mediocre at this, right? Everybody wants to be good at stuff, right? It's a competitive environment. But most cases when I talk to the new white belts that get a little wild, most of the time it's because they don't know what to do. Right? Because what happens, a lot of gyms do this. I used to be guilty of this, by the way. I don't do it anymore. You take a new white belt, they're all excited. You're like, all right, here's how to do a couple movements. Hey, doesn't that feel good? Oh, yeah. And then you just say, all right, go full roll. Go roll full speed and with another human being. And of course, they have no clue what they're doing. They're just going off of instinct. Their body's freaked out. Do you remember what it was like the first time you rolled and some dude's trying to choke you? Yes, you know in your head somewhere that this is all okay. This is safe. But your body is not used to that. And having someone grip you, that's why when we first start, right? We can be in great shape and you still gas out in a minute, right? Because you're exhausted because your body's freaking out. And then you take into things like previous traumas. I've had stuff in my past where getting jumped by someone, and there's other stuff that happened in my childhood where I remember the first time I started wrestling, which is my first foray in grappling, I remember being freaked out a little bit. It took me a lot to deal with that, people holding me down and grabbing me. It was a shock to my nervous system. So again, a lot of times they don't have the ability to chill or relax or breathe because their nervous system, their body is just going wild. And then it manifests out into the physical exterior where they're all of a sudden just they don't know what to do. So they zig this way and then they end up elbowing you in the mouth or doing something stupid. So what do you do with them? How do you tame the wild white belts? Well, first thing you do is you don't let them do full rolling. If they've got some previous experience, very different. But assuming you got this fresh new white belt in there, let's say with just a modicum of athletic ability, right, which is going to make them more dangerous if they get up and start doing wild stuff. We'll say they're a little bit bigger too, maybe 200 plus pounds. You take them, you show them some technique. Let's say that we're going to say scissor sweep. We're showing them a scissor sweep and then showing them how to do maybe a technique off the scissor sweep, maybe a kick out sweep, maybe a cross collar choke, something like that. Doing some stuff from full guard. Well, now when it comes time to roll, right, we're going to do situational rolling. And we're going to say that you're going to start from that position you just worked full guard. That's where we're going to start from. And your opponent on top is going to start by simply trying to not stop you from being able to break you down and go for the sweep. They're just going to try to stop you from doing that. They're not even going to pass your guard at first. They're just going to stop you. And you're going to see what it feels like to have someone resisting full speed. Just resisting though. If all goes well, then you say, okay, hey, let's bump this up a little bit. Now let's add on the guard passing element to it. So now you're going to try to sweep them. They're going to guard pass, right? Or you could even play around with this. You can say they're going to guard pass, and you're just going to see if you can stop them from breaking your guard and passing you, right? And then you can add the two different dynamics together and play around with it. But you see what we're doing. We're playing around with the variables, but from the position that we just worked. You have to remember, this person may not know anything else that's going on, but they know it this one little sliver. So let's try to keep them as close to that as possible. So this way we can minimize the potential risk of injury from them doing things that they shouldn't do. And again, mostly by accident. And then also so we can allow them to work in a position where they have some idea as to what they're supposed to be doing so that they don't pop people in the mouth or start to get into this nervous mental wreck because they're in a position where they have no idea of what to do, right? And again, this is a really simple idea, but I share this with you because I think a lot of times people take things personally with this. And when the white belts are going wild, it's usually not a personal thing. It's not usually an ego thing. It's just they have no clue what they're doing. I speak from experience as a spazzy white belt, and I speak as a coach who's been on coaching for a long time at this point, well over a decade, right? And working with people and refining my ability to develop people over time, that's what I do to tame wild white belts. We stick them into positional rolling over the course of several weeks, and then we slowly integrate it together and then let them work. So anyway, hopefully that helps you as a coach, and I'll talk to you guys next time.